So I've already released this excerpt in like written form, right? But I decided to come and read it for you all. The section I'm going to read comes from chapter 13 of Zeraxia, The Vengeance of Coldwind, which is the upcoming sequel to my book, Zeraxia, Wrath of the God King. You can visit zeraxia.com, link in my description, of course, to check out the first book, right? And to be notified when the second one comes out this year. It will be an audiobook and ebook form. And since it's going to be an audiobook form, I'm just like, let me give y'all a little sneak peek, little taste of what it's going to be like, right? So at this point in the story, right, the following excerpt I'm going to read, and it's pretty short, right? So at this point in the story, in the sequel, Xander, the main character, has assumed power in his kingdom, Emberland. Something dire has happened. I'm not going to say what because I don't want to give too much of the plot away of like the second book, right? Something dire has happened in the realm. And at this point, he's searching for his dragon, Javelin, so that he can use him to travel to the district in the realm, in the kingdom, where said issue is happening so he can deal with it. So let's not waste any time and get into it. Sunset in Zeraxia was always spectacular to behold, a sacred kind of splendor. Earths were nothing in comparison. My plan had worked. I'd escaped the jewel's perimeter, mostly undetected under the fading light. Thankfully, my hooded cloak worked well to disguise me as I left the city. I took in the thick, fresh air as loud insects buzzed and glowed around me. The dusk scattered eccentric yellows and oranges and reds all over Javelin's grassy lair like a master painter. But as enchanting as the foreign beauty was, it still couldn't distract me from all the death. There were countless animal skeletons protruding from the ground, and the sight of each one made the lair feel more and more like an underworld lit by hellfire. The sudden sound of crunching bones made me jump and scramble. To my dismay, I trekked through the blackened carcass of a fury hound that made the mistake of wandering too far. Javelin had killed it for sport, I surmised. Nothing would have remained of it if he'd been hungry. I tried my best to shake off the fleshy remnants left on my boot, cringing as I cleaned. Although this was an unpleasant experience, I reminded myself that it was much better than accidentally stepping in Jav's shit, which I'd done many, many times before. I wasn't surprised that I didn't see him in the clearing, because I hadn't sensed him with my magic when I was approaching. The question of his whereabouts crept up my spine like a prickly scorpion nonetheless. He could have been anywhere, and it was a scary thought, especially after the whole ordeal from days ago. But even still, trying to cage him would be a terrible plan, and most importantly, an impossible one. I did my best to hold back my panic when he didn't show, since he was somewhat covered by the protection spell. After all, I remembered, he liked to start hunting around this time, since his pitch-black skin made him very difficult to see at night. It was a bad hour to disturb him, but I needed him. He'd have plenty to eat where we were going anyway. Now, if only I could find him, I thought. But I knew I'd never find him. I'd just have to trust that he'd find me as he had done so many times in the past. It was he who found me the very first time we met, even though I'd been living worlds away from him. Still, as I surveyed the area again, scouring for any shred of his presence, I understood that no matter how many times Javelin returned safely from hunting or wherever else he ventured alone, his absence would always make me frantic. Then, I felt a pinprick of magic flutter high overhead, hypnotizing me like a mirage in the desert. It approached from far away, but was closing in fast, growing and humming on the borders of my perception. All other magic dimmed around me when the pulse came even closer, forcing my senses to focus only on its unmatched power. That's when I glued my eyes to the scarlet skies above, watching for a shadow. Suddenly, wings and fire added an electric blue streak to the already kaleidoscopic sky. I felt our blazing magic surging together in harmony, that ancient and faithful connection. Squinting through the light, I smiled at the massive burst of heat that jetted toward me with its surreal reptilian motions. There you are. So yeah, that's it. Quick little excerpt. I didn't want to give away too much. I was like, which part can I show y'all that is, real kind, real puss, gives you life, but doesn't give too much of the plot away. Like I said, make sure you go to Zeraxia.com. There, if you put your email in, not only will you be notified when my sequel, this book, is coming out, right, when it will be released, but you will also get the entire first chapter of the book in PDF form for free sent to your email. So just go to Zeraxia.com, get your life, check out my previous book, get excited for the sequel that is coming. Thank you so much for watching. Love y'all so much, and make sure that you have a good goddamn evening.